Hello and welcome to DCP Live episode DCP SideQuest episode number 48. See, it's Monday.
We are ready now. And also live.
It's Monday and I woke up late. It's also Meme's birthday today, actually.
Happy birthday, Meme!
Yeah, exactly. Birthday, right?
Memes.
So what are you guys doing for a birthday?
Quarantining. Yeah. I woke up. I made an oat milk latte. So that's for her, and it was actually pretty good. But I got that on the brain right now. But I'm still not like fully awake yet. So weird, right?
It takes me, approximately 5 hours to wake up.
Yeah.
Then I'm good. Then I'm going.
Yeah.
Are you guys like a jump out of bed into the shower kind of crew, or
no? You depends.
Depends on the day. Loaf around a little bit.
Yeah.
I don't get shit done until I've taken a shower. So like the amount of time between waking up and taking a shower that's about the amount of time I've wasted during the day because I don't do anything productive until I've taken a shower.
Fair.
What were you saying, Eric? When you wake up?
I was saying, like normally I'm sort of one of those like alarm goes off straight up. Like I think quarantine has sort of slowed that ever so slightly. So this week I made like a concerted effort to try and sort of get back and like my alarm goes off. I'm getting up. So been up since 6 o'clock this morning. I've started for the past 2 weeks. It's been quite an interesting experiment to sort of start the day. But I wake up and I've started to meditate for a bit before I begin my day. It's actually been quite useful.
Yeah.
It's still I'm still in the kind of initial phase where it doesn't feel very natural. And it's like I'm doing like the guided stuff. It's actually I feel like because you wake up and then like your mind's spinning, so then you just like let me just chill.
The day begins. It doesn't feel natural when you first start doing it. Lifting weights.
True.
And meditation is weightlifting for your mind.
Yeah, that's true. I want to have a strong mind. It's true.
You know what the worst thing to do is when you wake up? If you reach for your phone and look at Twitter. I swear to God. It's the worst thing you could do to yourself.
That'll slow you down.
Immediately, instead of like starting your day, you're like starting somebody else's day. It's like somebody else is like inputting a bunch of shit into your mind and then right when you wake up.
100%. I actually read a study on that. And part of the reason as well is because like the science behind it as well is obviously that because your mind is most pliable first thing in the morning, that first half an hour, you want to. It's why like. If you have a bad start the second you wake up, it'll influence your entire day because your mind's so pliable. Whatever you like ingest straight away will effectively influence how your day pans out. So like if the first thing you read is someone being like, "I hate you, man. You're the worst." Like, oh, thanks. That's a good stuff. So I try. Sometimes I'm not always that great, but like I try to sort of like not look at. I put that kind of that time limit on my phone where it doesn't actually let me supposedly access Twitter until 9. You can always bypass it. So I try to kind of generally be like,
wait, you can do that on your phone?
Yeah, so on iPhone you can have like screen time limits. So I put a screen time limit on Twitter and Instagram. So what happens at 9 o'clock? It appears if you go to open Instagram, a little egg timer comes up. It says like screen timer started. You have the option to say bypass this and like ignore now. But generally speaking, you'll have like a window before you can get into the apps you select. So I've done that for Instagram and Twitter. And like a lot of other things as well. So like at 9 p.m. for me, 9 p.m. is when it turns on and 9 a.m. is when it turns off.
I had no idea this existed. I'm totally going to set this up. Useful. That's awesome.
Yeah, do it.
I'm going to parent myself. This is great.
Yeah, I'm going to need, so there's apps you can get that hardcore do not let you in.
Oh, okay.
So if you're someone who's like really addicted to any kind of social media, it will not let you in. You cannot bypass it. Whatever time you set it to, it opens up at that time and you got to deal with it.
Wow.
Yeah, I think these are good tools. Like it's much of my time can be taken up by other people's thoughts. Like,
true.
You know, like even with like Bluetooth speakers and headphones and stuff, it's like when you go for a walk, are you thinking about like stuff on your mind, or are you listening to a podcast and you're thinking about something on somebody else's mind? I guess this is probably counterproductive to talk on a podcast. But like
put this podcast down right now and pay attention to the nature that you're walking right now on your walk.
It's not even that, but like having your own original, like when you go online, you so often see people just repeating the headlines of like other people's thoughts, right? You know, like people aren't like taking the time to form their own opinions about things. Everybody's getting so inundated by just other people's stuff that you kind of filter through that on your own, and then like you have this opinion, but as soon as you ask somebody about an opinion on something, there's often very little to back it up, right? It's like you can't get into a discussion about, something, because as soon as you ask them, well, I just read that online. Oh, who wrote it? Or like, where'd you read it? Like, there's no depth to that thought, because it's just based on the headlines that they've read.
Yeah. Absolutely.
It's true. And on that note, Xbox.
Xbox gameplay. Here's how you should think about
it. So who watched it live?
Me.
I watched it live.
I was sleeping.
I did. You made the right choice.
I mean, I enjoyed it. You know what?
No, it was good. I will say ahead of time, before I start just like completely going in on this, I don't mind reveals where they have these kind of trailers and they introduce you to the game. I have no problem with that. I just don't like saying we're going to see first ever next gen gameplay of Valhalla and then it having zero.
I almost knew it was coming, because they said at first they were hyping up the gameplay, and then as soon as Aaron Greenberg starts, he's like, everything you see is in engine. I'm like, okay, I see what you're saying here. You're now laying down the little like get out of jail free card to be like, I didn't quite say gameplay. Our social media,
but at the bottom of the screen, they kept saying gameplay. They kept flashing,
and then right after they just
bottom
said,
of the screen.
We just looked at some sick Valhalla gameplay. Can you talk to us about it? And we're like, did we? Did I?
Yeah, it's like,
are you sure?
I guess one of those ones as well when it's like, because there were some of the trailers they showed, they did have like amidst say like a 90-second trailer, there would be like 2 or 3 second clips where it was clearly like the gameplay model was moving. Like, so it's there might have been like a few gameplay segments, but it wasn't cohesive. Like, I can see this guy moving. It's like,
it wasn't what I would see from my perspective playing the game, right? And that's when I want gameplay, like that's kind of what I want to see. What does it look like when I'm that character and moving around? And okay, cool. But
in some games, like you can understand why that would be the case. And also, this is early footage of games that aren't done yet, in the middle of a quarantine where studios are having a hard time getting stuff out. Like, I understand the people are upset they didn't see gameplay. I actually had fun seeing some games that I haven't seen before. I also really was digging, this is a personal thing, but I was really digging on seeing everybody's personal offices.
True.
Everybody was setting up their offices because they knew they were going to be on that stream.
Can we take a moment just to shout out to like the lady who like they clearly must have said everyone that appears on camera must have some Xbox branding, and there was one of the women there who's like she'd obviously set her laptop up in a room that didn't have her console in, so there was like an Xbox controller placed neatly in like a basket, and I was like, why is your controller in a basket?
It's like, how can we work with your environment? Okay, so we could put like something on the cat tower, we could put a plant. It's great seeing what people come up with to show off Xbox or whatever game they're talking about.
One of the things I search on YouTube probably the most frequently is like office setup tours. I love office setup tours. So it's just fun to see. Like, I love seeing how people set up everything, right? It's like, especially streamers and YouTubers, because they have so much equipment that they got to deal with. That actually making like a pleasant environment out of that can be difficult. So people who pull it off well, I find that to be really interesting. Should we talk about the games?
Let's do it.
Video games.
13 games.
Yeah. So what was the first one?
The first one. Well, see, the first one is called Bright Memory Infinite, right? Which is basically, do you guys remember back when the Wii came out? I'll drop this in Twitch chat so people can watch that as they go. Do you remember back when the Wii came out? A game called Red Steel.
Yeah.
I feel like after I watched this, I feel like this is just a next-gen Red Steel, because it's basically like guns and swords and chopping people up, but it actually looks kind of fun.
You can also play Bright Memory. So this is Bright Memory Infinite, but you can play Bright Memory right now on Steam. Is it
the same game?
I don't think it's the same thing, although I'm a little confused, to be honest, about that whole thing. But you can play, it's like $9.99 to get Bright Memory. So you can play, I guess, experience some of the gameplay or how that will feel before Bright Memory Infinite comes out.
So this one was a first-person shooter. It was the first game they showed. It was a first-person shooter. Yeah. I thought it like had Titanfall tendencies right at the get-go.
Yeah, it did, yeah.
There was like the gun was reminiscent of Titanfall. There was wall running. There was time travel. When I saw the DeLorean, I got very excited. So like it looked cool. Like I don't know. I'm having a bit of first-person fatigue right now. First-person shooter fatigue right now. So
I feel like
it reminds me of Shadow Warrior. You guys remember that game?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Shadow Warrior's
that was a dope game.
Lo Wang.
Yeah, exactly. Like because of the combat and the way the kind of the visual aesthetics of how like it feels very movie-ified with all.
You know what's so impressive about this? This was all made by one guy.
Was it really?
Yeah, right. That's crazy, isn't it?
And
this is one guy.
And it looked beautiful. What they showed us visually, it looked stunning.
That's crazy.
Yeah, very good.
It's funny because like I like how there's so much stuff in it, but it's also that typical. I don't mean to kind of like put it in like a bad light because I think it's really cool. I'll definitely play this, but it also feels that typical kind of next gen launch title where they're like, we've got all this new power. He's like, I like shooting. I like guns. I like swords. I like grapple. I like wall running. Let me throw a DeLorean in there. Yeah. He's like, let me do all of this stuff. Oh, look what next gen can do. And they're like, hey, this is great. This is a launch title. But like, I feel like it kind of falls into that bracket, but it does look really cool. So
looks really cool.
Yeah, it's got a nice look to it.
I can't believe it's just one guy. That's amazing, actually. Like that little story right there. It's 2020 Xbox first reveal of stuff that's happening in the next gen, and their first game is from someone from a single person studio, and the game looks actually amazing as well.
Yeah,
that's incredible.
Crazy.
That should
so apparently the one on Steam is Chapter 1, whatever that.
Okay.
So maybe it's the first part of it.
All right. I might check that out for $10. I'll give it a go.
Yeah.
Next they showed Dirt 5, the racing game. I gotta say, I thought of all the games they showed, this was graphically the most impressive. But I have to caveat by saying that everything on this stream was highly macro blocked when I was watching it. I started watching on Twitch, and then I switched over to YouTube because somebody had mentioned that they were doing a 4K stream on YouTube.
Yeah.
But it's like, I was wondering, like, while I was watching all these trailers, like, how many of these trailers are just not showing the power of the next generation? Because that power is going to manifest it in small details that, streams just aren't going to be able to capture because, because of encoding.
Yeah.
But Dirt looks awesome. Like I love the Dirt series, so I'm very excited for a new Dirt game.
So I'm cool with Dirt, but I always feel like racing games are easy to fake good looking visuals because of the speed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And
but like the
yeah.
Like the ice, I thought looked really cool, and like the Manhattan in the background, and all the car models look really good. I mean, you're kind of right. All racing games look good at this point.
Yeah,
like you don't see
like when a racing game comes out and it doesn't look good, you're kind of like, what happened? Like,
what did you do?
We solved this problem already. Like, what?
So interestingly, Ukumio in chat said that Dirt 5 will have 2 modes: visual mode, which is 4K, and performance, which is 120 FPS. So I'm hoping that's what we see, because Neo 2 actually does that as well, right? Yep. You have the kind of cinematic mode, and then there's the action mode that bumps up the frames. So it's I hope that they do that so more games can have the option of doing both, because it kind of seems like game companies don't want to give up their cinematic 30 FPS.
No, because it looks so good in screenshots.
It does. Yeah.
But man, it feels so much better to play at a lower resolution with a higher frame rate. And TVs like are starting to ship with 120 hertz. So like it's very possible the next TV you buy will support 120 hertz.
Yeah,
which is awesome.
Yeah. I hope that becomes with the choosing the options and all that, like the 4K versus the 120 and all that. And from like a gamer perspective, they already build this stuff into the PC versions, like the low, medium, high, ultra type of graphic settings. So I know it's more work, but it doesn't seem like it's a mountain of work to be able to provide 2 options of one targeting 4K versus one targeting frame rate for that particular console. This
is a side note, but did you guys see the Digital Foundry video about Bloodborne running at 60 FPS?
I didn't watch the video,
No.
but you know.
That was impressive looking. So this one guy, I don't know if he's got like a dev PlayStation 5 or like how he did it, but he was able to get into the code on Bloodborne and reduce the resolution to 720 and then up the frame rate to 60. And for the most part, it holds that 60 FPS and it looks awesome. Man, I would love to play.
So fluid.
It did, right?
Yeah.
And I would love to play that version. And like they were kind of speculating that, you know, Bloodborne never got a pro patch, but like this could very well be a PS5 thing, right? It's like,
I would love that.
You know, like have From Software make like a 1080p 60 hertz version of Bloodborne for PS5 owners. Like even if they sell it as like, you know, a deluxe edition for PS5, or if they just patch the old version, like that's a no-brainer. I would absolutely get that.
So 60 FPS, yeah, absolutely no brainer on that. But if they did a PS5 patch version, I'd love it if they actually legit up the textures to 4K, because some of them are clearly low res, you know, because it's like it's from a different time when they built that game when they were in development. And it'd be really cool to see that kind of get a once over for higher, like everything just gets a touch up for 4K. And if they could actually manage 4K 60 on a PS5, like, yes, please.
I mean, like if they could get a stable 30, that'd be nice. But B, if they could actually up it to 60, I'd be happy. Like I'd seriously be happy with
every podcast, Briar has to mention a stable 30 about Bloodborne. Every single podcast.
You know, it's a huge flaw in that game.
It's part of the experience. I mean, it's like a Dark Souls style game, right? Well, but if you're playing like a Dark Souls style game, you've also got to have the Dark Souls style frame rate.
Yeah, right? The frame rate has to screw you, and the camera has to screw you.
Exactly.
There you go.
Right?
Next gen better not mess with that.
I feel like the only way the next gen can improve on that, right, is that now they've got the intelligent PlayStation controller. Maybe they can also Dark Souls your controls, so occasionally your controls don't work. And then it's like, no, this is even harder.
They get infected with like the scourge or something, and the controls are all flipped around.
Imagine if they did that, because it's got those kind of sense kind of like triggers. And imagine, like there's a boss that kind of infects you, and like you literally can't use like your physical triggers.
What if
you got to switch to the player 2 controller?
Some game, let's say it had a concussion mechanic. You get a concussion and your controls are all swapped around.
That would be amazing. And if it was, really especially fun. Now it's got that it's got the light visible on the front. They could even change the light to be like green, to be like you're poisoned right now. It's like no.
Yeah, right.
That's one way to force players to have to heal themselves and cure their ailments instead of just ignoring it. It's just, hey, half your controller doesn't work. Better heal yourself.
They used to do that in old RPGs. It's like if you got poisoned during a battle, when you came out of the battle, you'd still be poisoned. It was so annoying.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Next, they showed off H.R. Geiger, the game, Scorn.
Oh yeah.
Moist.
This was Alien 1015.
Moist. Potentially some penises
weird
on the screen.
trailer.
I can't really tell.
They definitely are. Yeah.
Like this whole reveal just seemed to be showing art assets, right? Like,
yeah, they were just like, look
is
at
this
this
even going to be a launch game? Is there a game here?
It doesn't. Yeah, it doesn't really show. Doesn't really show us what the actual game is, right?
No.
I was like, this is moist and creepy. Awesome. What do I do?
Yeah.
What is this game?
You don't really get much of an idea for it. I mean, the graphic style is like, like definitely Geiger, but other than that, you don't really get much of a sense for it.
No.
Is there any? Is it connected to any franchise, or is it a brand new franchise?
Brand new franchise, but
it's a horror game apparently.
Okay.
Okay, so Steam has a page, so I can read this so we can get some information. It's an atmospheric first-person horror adventure set in a nightmarish universe of odd forms and somber tapestry. It's designed around the idea of being thrown into the world. Isolated and lost inside this dreamlike world, you will explore different interconnected regions in a non-linear fashion. So
if this is dreamlike for you, seek help immediately.
Yeah, 100%.
Apparently, the gameplay features are cohesive lived-in world, So it takes place in an open-ended world with different interconnected regions. Each region is a maze-like structure with various rooms and paths to discover. All the storytelling happens in-game with no cutscenes to distract you from the grisly reality of living.
Wow. God damn.
Full body awareness. Players will experience better immersion being aware of the character's body and movement. Interaction with the world is realistic. Objects are picked up with your hands instead of just floating in midair. Machines and instruments are operated by grabbing the controls, etc.
Okay.
That sounds like
maybe they'll
they got
take
the
over our
marketing dude to
controller,
write.
like that.
Maybe. It sounds like they got the marketing dude, but like we need a spiel for our game for the Steam page. Like, okay, let me just get a load of buzzwords. Next gen.
Realistic
body
experience.
awareness.
You know, your
Feel
inventory
the
is your
body.
actual hands. You know.
Your
Yeah.
I mean, it looks like. You remember games like Myst back in the day, where it's like.
Oh
this,
yeah, I love that game.
Yeah, like imagine a modern day thing like that, where it's the experience and your puzzle solving, but in a horror setting. If that's what this is, I'd probably be down to play it.
Yeah, it's interesting because it also makes a point about the inventory and ammo management. So it's defined and limited.
Yeah.
So that they're putting a huge kind of thing with the inventory of that you have to figure out when to fight and when to run. Otherwise, you're going to end up not having any supplies. So
it's a horror game I'm running all the time.
That's right.
I like Myst games, but like if you put like horror and alien penises in my Myst, I don't really want to go there.
Dude, Alien Isolation was such a good game. I want more of that.
That was too much. That was too much.
Oh, it kind of looks like it's in the Alien universe.
Yeah. I mean, that's the guy who designed all the art for
I didn't know that.
Alien is H.R. Geiger.
He made the xenomorphs and all that.
Clearly inspired by his art.
Yeah, clearly. Yeah.
Next, they showed off Chorus. Chorus, you'd be forgiven for not realizing is a space shooter.
It triggers me how the title for it says like it looks like a V. They're trying to do that stylistic thing, so it's like when I went to search for it, like is it called Corvs or is it called Chorus? It's like, I don't like it.
It's a little confusing, but I do like this is a underrepresented style of game in like modern times. So I was actually kind of pleased to see you're flying your ship in space. That's fun. I like to do that. So I was pleased to see this would be a game, like a new game that's being released, and it's got like a story to it. Apparently, like the cinematics were pretty impressive looking.
Cool.
Yeah.
True.
Also, a lot of these games do have Steam pages. So if you guys want to look at more information, you can just look it up on Steam. It gives you at least what they've typed about it so far.
Yeah, the marketing person.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, it looks cool. Like, again, flying games in space have that other thing going on, like just like racing games where it's not that difficult to make it look good when things are moving fast, Like the face cutscenes and all that look really nice. Also, it's nice to know that this is all in engine. Even though I know we were joking about the whole gameplay stuff, but like, it's nice that all the stuff is looking to this degree in engine and appears to be 60 FPS.
What's that mean though? In engine, like if I run a movie in our current engine, is that in engine?
No, I think what they mean by that is like so. Whereas the CG trailers are obviously all pre-rendered, in engine, means like obviously it's all like rendered in real time. So it's technically speaking
on what?
Well, I'm assuming it's an Xbox Series X. If it's not on that, then that's misleading.
Way.
So they did. I did see a screenshot of in the bottom of the screen. It said that it was it's in engine, but it's what they think the engine will run the game like. So it's like a simulated engine.
Yeah.
They're not just like playing it in the Xbox thing and recording it.
We've been lied to. We've been bamboozled.
Damn it.
Scamboozled.
But I'll be honest, when Chorus comes out, I'll probably grab it right away because I like that kind of game.
Nice.
Bloodlines 2, this is the sequel to Vampire the Masquerade that came out, I want to say in the early 2000s on PC. I don't even know if that made it to consoles ever. But that was a fantastic RPG. It was kind it was an RPG where you played as a vampire. This is the sequel to that, which has been long in the coming. People are really excited about it in the PC world. It was nice to see some
gameplay.
Well, so I was actually thinking about this one afterwards. Like, how do you show gameplay and get people excited about an RPG? You know, like, because the gameplay is going to be slow and plotting, and like it's not really going to represent what the thing is about. Like, if you want to know what Bloodlines gameplay looks like, it's pretty easy to figure that out. But this was like right off the bat, like body horror to the max. Like, it was nightmare fuel.
Super creepy
from
the start.
get-go.
It was very creepy.
I was like, this is not me, not at all. I was like, I'm out.
I really enjoyed the first game, so I'm probably going to check out the second game.
Okay.
But that was a long time ago that game came out.
Yeah, for me, this is the type of game I'm definitely have to see what people are saying.
Yeah, same.
I'm not really sold on it, just on this.
I like the next game though. The Call of the Sea one was quite interesting.
Yeah, visually.
Visually, yeah. I don't know how it actually played.
Okay.
Yeah. Is this a walking simulator?
I think it's something like that. Yeah.
Maybe they did show they were walking around the map, so maybe that was the gameplay, is like you walking around the map. So
yeah, I have a hard time with these games. Like, they're always visually arresting, but like I always get bored playing them.
Yeah, true.
What if it's Sea of Thieves with an actual storyline RPG thing that you're doing?
Maybe I can find out more
Sea of Mist.
Sea of Mist, yeah.
This could be the mist that we've been waiting for.
Call of the Sea. Here we go. So what is it listed as? Is it listed as adventure casual indie? So I'm pretty sure it's
walking simulator.
Walking around and experiencing the world. They've got very little about it. Just says that it is 1934 in the far reaches of the South Pacific. Nora's crossed the ocean following the trail of her missing husband's expedition and finds herself on a lush island paradise, a nameless forgotten place dotted with the remnants of a lost civilization. So you're mostly just exploring the tropical islands and experiencing an emotional, charming character.
Okay.
So
when games like this are done really well, it's super impactful. Like, it creates really like specific emotions from playing a game like that.
It does, yeah. It does also say that it is fully voiced.
Cool.
So you're gonna have a fully voiced experience through her character and her self-discovery journey.
Nice. The game looks great, and
beautiful game.
And it does appear to be a walking simulator based on that gameplay that they showed on there.
True.
Yeah, it's tough to tell those until you have like knowledge of what type of puzzling is going to happen in that world. How do you unlock things?
Yeah,
because that can be it can be a very magical thing, or it can be a very like, oh come on type of thing.
Yeah, because if it played out kind of like The Witness, like I would love it. Because I mean, it was a little bit slow, but I really enjoyed The Witness. Because that was the closest thing we've got to sort of like a Myst/Riven fix in modern day. So if it had that element, that would be quite cool. But if it was just like them showing us walking through the world, and then later they're just going to try and shoehorn some basic gameplay into it, then it'll be a bit like,
yeah, exactly.
But we'll see.
Right.
But the next one, this next one here, it bothered me, right? Because
really.
Yeah, so the thing about this one, I will try and phrase this in the right way, because I have nothing against these kinds of games, but what I hate, right, is when they start by showing this cool cinematic, right? It looks very cyberpunky. So
I know which one you mean.
I'm like, okay, cool. So they're gonna, right? They're obviously going to the cyberpunk route. I was like, maybe they're being strategic because cyberpunk's launching this year, so they're gonna do a lot more of this kind of stuff. I was like, oh, this looks quite cool, but it looks more like Alien cyberpunk. There's like much more kind of focus on there. When you saw the ships flying around, I was like, oh, this is kind of Matrixy. But then and again, I don't mean any disrespect to the publisher, but when Curve Digital came on screen, I was like, this is going to be a top-down mobile-looking game. And then the second they pulled back the curtains, they pulled back the cutscene. Lo and behold, it was a top-down twin-stick shooter. I was like, the same thing that this talks me about is the same thing that, when you go on like the eShop on the Nintendo store, and there'll be like a game that's got some fantastic artwork as like the cover, and you're like, yo, I want to check that out. And then you go to click on it, and it's like, this game looks like it's been made in Unity. Not to say Unity is a bad engine, but the ones where it's like, this guy made it as a school project.
Asset swap.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, don't do this to me. So yeah, that was that irked me.
The top down.
Yeah,
does
I
look
did
really
appreciate that they had actual
It looks good,
gameplay.
Yeah.
They did have gameplay.
Yeah,
apparently it runs 4K 60.
That's
the
cool.
world is gorgeous.
Yeah.
The world is gorgeous. Yeah.
And that again, the twin.
I wonder how
twin
many of
shooter,
these games are actually going to be launch games.
Right.
Like in these trailers. Like, what are we looking at here? Is this stuff that is a launch game? Is it stuff that's going to come out in the next couple of years?
I'm assuming this is going to be like this fall.
Yeah.
I feel like they want to be, because I think a lot of what a lot of studios are trying to do these days is like announce things that are coming sooner, right? So I would feel like they would want to sort of bolster their launch lineup. So I could see it being a launch lineup thing.
Yeah. That gameplay actually looks really good to me. Like I would totally play that. Assuming
Well, the thing is,
assuming it's more than just like, oh, you got like 1 or 2 guns that slightly get upgraded, you know? Sometimes they do that.
Yeah, definitely. That's the thing. I would definitely play it because to kind of sort of go back on what I said before, like, I have nothing against like top-down isometrics. Like I love those kind of games. Like I play like Diablo things. I just hate it when like the leading up cinematic looks completely different to what that actually is. And it's like, don't do that.
Yeah. I feel you on that.
You lied to me. So yeah.
Next up is The Medium. That was The Ascent. I don't know. Did we actually say the name of that game?
It's called The Ascent.
The Ascent. Next up is The Medium. This is a kind of a cool looking horror game, right? Where it's kind of like it's got some kind of like weird effect where this woman can see, like she's in modern day, but she can also see like this kind of like apocalyptic, like I don't know, strangeness coming out.
It says so it says you become a medium living in 2 different worlds, the real one and the spirit one, haunted by the vision of a child's murder. You travel to an abandoned hotel resort which many years ago became the stage of an unthinkable tragedy. Then you begin your search for difficult answers. So yeah, you can access both of the worlds to try and figure out what happened and what's going on. Which is cool.
Visually it reminded me of Control a little bit, but like not inside that building.
Mm-hmm.
Also, the person who's doing the music, who did the music on Silent Hill? It's the same. Same composer. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
That's cool. Yeah, I'm definitely interested. If it's done well, it could be cool. Although it is by the same creators of Blair Witch and Layers of Fear. Blair Witch was a little bit of a stinker. But maybe they've upped it for the medium.
Maybe they learned from their problems.
Maybe they've learned, yeah.
Oh, what we don't have in our list here is the Madden thing. They showed off that like
oh my gosh.
They started off with like the ultra old Madden games and like kind of worked their way up to like the brand new stuff.
Yeah, the thing about that one, right, is like, and again, this is me being massively one-sided bias because I just don't like. What's it called? Is it called football? You guys call it football, right?
That's correct.
American football.
I'm not really, apart from Jim, I'm not really a sports guy anyway, right? But I hate sports games, right? But especially, you know what? But I hate them even more so because in presentations like this, they have no right, but their segment takes longer than anything else. Every time, right? It'll be like, oh, we've seen some really nice looking next gen gameplay, but they only gave us 45 seconds. And they're like, well, let me talk to you about EA Sports. Hold on a minute. Let me get some guy who's been paid a bungo bucks to sit down and be like, hey, man, like, I'm super excited to be here. Are you really? Yeah, man, I'm so excited. I'm a massive Madden fan. The first time I played it was yesterday, but today I'm a big fan, right? And I'm just like, my guy. But then it's like, but also, sports games look a little bit boring anyway. So to make sure it looks really good, we're going to show you all the old ones so you can be super clear that it's definitely an improvement.
It's definitely an upgrade.
I need you to see this.
We showed you last year's version and showed you this year's version, you wouldn't be able to tell the difference.
Night and day.
Exactly, right? So they're like, but now you see the blade of grass moved now. And then they finish it and we're like, okay, cool, next one. He's like, no, but the guy's come back on because he wants to talk some more about sports. No, shut up, man. Get out of here. Sorry, that's my rant. But that's every, you know what? It's E3 is either sports or dancing games. Get them out of E3. They have no place there.
Dancing games.
Hey, everybody needs a pee break sometimes, you know?
Sure, it is the designated break time.
They just have to. They got to
This break has been brought to you by Madden.
They got to invent like, you know, a sci-fi Madden. They used to have things like this. I don't know if there's been a modern day football.
Cyberball and Mutant League. Actually, there's just a new Mutant League that came out like
there was?
last year or 2 years ago. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Well, there goes that. I want something where you call in like an earthquake and crack the field up, you know?
Yeah.
Mario Sports.
Yeah.
Mario Soccer Strikers.
Do you remember? Did you ever play the Blitz series, Tefty? The NFL Blitz?
I feel like I might have.
They're older games now. I want to say, I played that one too. That was a good game too. Blitz was like, it was NFL. They had like an NFL license, but they ended up going down a road where they got so crazy with it that they lost the NFL license. And like it started to become about like drug use in the NFL and shit. It was so weird. But the original NFL Blitz games were super fun. They were arcadey, almost like what was that basketball game?
NBA Jam.
NBA Jam, but like a football game. They were fun.
NBA Jam is one of those games where like I would love to see a remake in modern day, but maybe it would be terrible. You know what I mean? Maybe like
it'd be hard to capture that magic again.
Exactly. Maybe the back in the day feel of NBA Jam is what made it special. And if they did a new one, then it's just like I don't know.
Yeah, games like that, you don't have to be a sports fan to enjoy. It's just a fun game. You know?
Yeah, it's the non-serious, non-technical ones that I can enjoy. Do some silly stuff. Good times.
Yep.
Scarlet Nexus. This game's anime.
This is the one. This was the best game show.
This was the best game.
You know Namco would deliver.
Yep.
They never let us down. They're our anime supplier.
They are.
Game sick.
This game looks like it could have come out on any console since like 2005.
I mean, it is true. It doesn't really like in a next generation showcase. I'll admit, I'm biased because of the anime, but it doesn't look necessarily hugely next gen. However, it just looks awesome. And you play as a character who's part of this this police force, and you can use psychokinetic powers to control the environment. So you can actually use the environment as weapons when you're fighting in the game.
Nice. Briar, I actually kind of disagree, man. Like, there's a lot of particle effects and just a lot of high visuals. Like, it looks really good in like a stylized way.
Okay.
Like, if that's 4K 60, you know what I mean? 4K 60 with all those particles and all those effects going on, like, actually, it does look really good.
Well, I'm glad you guys like it.
Yeah, I can't. I'm excited. I always I like Bandai Namco games. It's great.
Yukimo says it's 4K 30 though.
Some of these games are 4K 30. Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's there you are. It's a bright special. It's a cinematic special, right? Cinematic anime.
Learning that, like that, some of these games are going to be coming out 4K 30 makes me very worried about Destiny.
What is going on? What's up with the 4K 30?
Maybe it's something that the games that are just like launching on it, they couldn't do. I don't freaking know. But it needs to become a standard to be 60.
I want
it really needs
them to stop concentrating on the 4K number, because I honestly don't think it makes that big a difference when you're playing a game. Like,
it sells, right? Mom hears 4K. Oh, you gotta go get the 4K for my son. This one doesn't have 4K, so this one.
My mom doesn't know what the fuck 4K means.
Does it sound cool though? If she's in a store, she's like, "Oh, 4K."
She's like, "I just bought this 1080p TV like 10 years ago. You mean I already got to buy a new TV?"
It's true. It's true.
Yeah, my biggest worry is that a lot of these developers are going to gloss over 2K and just be like, you know, it's either 1080p or 4K, and not do the 2K 60 option if they can't run.
That's the option that I feel is the right option.
Right, but
option.
I don't see developers talking about that, and I feel like it's going to get glossed. They're going to be
I just want the option. Then they can say that, yeah, we've got 4K, you can play 4K 30, woohoo! But then we also have 1080p 60 for people that want that. And more games are putting it as an option, and I want that to be the thing.
Yeah.
I want options, so I can ignore your 4K option.
Right.
Somehow they made a game about shooting dinosaurs look boring as hell. With Second Extinction.
I wasn't super excited about that.
Like, how do you manage this? You're out there shooting. You're in the second apocalypse. You get it? I'm sorry, the second Extinction event.
Yeah,
and you're out there. It looks so standard. Like I don't know, like how to say it otherwise. It looks so generic.
I know what you mean. It's like it's one of those sort of things where like. I mean, if ever I have a chance anyway, like when it comes to like games, I would always rather choose third person over first person anyway. But I definitely find like, because with next generation, and I know we're not necessarily going to see it straight away, like in the first launch titles, but one of the things that excites me the most about next generation is like it's a chance with new power to do some new things. But like, there's so many times where you expect that kind of cookie cutter thing, like okay, cool, a new console's coming out, so we're going to see a racing game, we're going to see an FPS, but it's just like I want someone to do something more just with the genre in general, because I find games, especially if there's like a narrative angle, if you play it through an FPS component, to me, a lot of the time, I find them quite boring because it's basically like, okay, here's a room that I've got to shoot a load of enemies, move to the next room, shoot a load of enemies. And I know that's kind of, what you do in like a lot of games anyway, but it's just like, surely just because you're in like a first person camera and you're holding a gun, surely there's more you could do with that. Like in this, you go and play like an action adventure game and there's like puzzling elements. And I know you get puzzles in some FPSs, but I feel like there's people just so like love to default to just like, you've got a gun, all you want to do is shoot. It's like, I kind of want to do more.
Yeah. Apparently, this game does not run at 4K nor at 60.
Yikes.
Yikes.
It looks like a Far Cry Extinction Dinosaur expansion DLC.
But like Blood Dragon kind of DLC, where it's like really short and it's kind of goofy.
Yeah, but they also took out all those cool 80s effects. And just
Yeah.
Like you're a soldier that's been teleported back. Go kill
all these
dinosaurs.
games, they look kind of whack, right? Oh no, not all of them. Sorry, some of
all these games suck.
Eric's calling it straight right there.
But here's the thing, right? We're forgetting one very important thing. Everyone's gonna have Game Pass, so you'll be like, you know what? I'm gonna play this whack game anyway.
Yes,
I bought my new console.
Good point. That's a real good point.
Like, I don't like whack dinosaur shooter, but I've got it on Game Pass. Let me play it.
Quick, and this one's a 3-player game, 3-player co-op. So like, if you want to hang out with your friends,
Game Pass buddies. Hey, speaking of Game Pass, and this is just a quick highlight: Red Dead Redemption 2 is officially on Game Pass today.
Ooh, oh, that's nice. That's big.
Yeah,
that's a big title to be on there.
Mm-hmm. Damn.
All right, next up.
They must have realized how boring that game really was to try to shovel it on Game Pass. Whoa!
Oh, Eric.
Did I just say that? I'm sorry.
Eric is pulling a full countrywide Jar Jar Binks.
He's going full Jar Jar today.
I'm good. All that
He's embracing the Jar Jar today.
Next up was Yakuza Like a Dragon. And I gotta say, I need to get into Yakuza games because this trailer was
you would love those games.
This was so much fun to watch that I'm like, okay, I got to get into everything Yakuza like immediately.
Yep.
It's never really appealed to me as a series before because I feel like everything that they always show in the trailer specifically is like, oh, you go to like host clubs and do all this like the random dating stuff. But this is just like he's just drop kicking people with superpowers on the street. I'm like, okay, now you're talking my language.
Yeah, I'm sold.
Yeah.
Yeah, you'd love them.
Cool. Yakuza, right?
Kind of, it doesn't take itself too seriously as well, which is really awesome.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then we saw Assassin's Creed Valhalla.
Which looks awesome.
Valhalla, which visually does look awesome. Mm-hmm. What did you think of the visuals, Brian? You're pretty excited about them?
Yeah, I thought it looked great. It looked amazing. Yeah.
Do you like it if it only runs 30 FPS?
Fuck you. Why would you say something so mean to me?
This was like breaking news today.
Really?
Breaking news.
So on the new hardware, it's going to still run at 30 FPS?
So what they said specifically was it will run at least 30 FPS on Xbox Series X.
At least.
Which, Lord, I hope it would be at least. So that's what they said. It was from Eurogamer's Portugal branch when they talked to a Ubisoft spokesperson. Mm-hmm. And they said that it would run at least 30 FPS on Xbox Series X. So
jokes aside, that doesn't actually surprise me that much. This engine, like even running on a very high-end PC, trying to get 4K out of this engine with Odyssey or Origins is incredibly difficult. Like I run this game on a 2080 Ti, I run Odyssey on a 2080 Ti with a 9900K top end gear, and like at 2560p, not 4K, I'm lucky to stay above 60 FPS.
Yeah.
Like it is an intense engine. It looks gorgeous.
I mean, yeah, it's
hardcore.
It's gonna be native 4K, so it is gonna look beautiful.
Yeah.
Just I think a lot of us were looking at next gen of like, oh, they're saying 60 FPS is the standard. It's gonna be the standard across the board for all games. And now, at least in the beginning, starting out, doesn't seem like it's gonna be the standard.
Yeah, it's also a bit disappointing.
First person shooters, I like kind of really need them to be 60 FPS at this point. Third person games, I'm a little less picky about, especially when I'm using a controller. When I'm using a mouse and keyboard on a FPS, like I really want a consistent high frame rate. When I'm playing a third person action game, like
there's more room,
especially with a controller. Yeah, there's more room.
There's more wiggle room.
I want a consistent frame rate so I don't get actually sick.
It just makes all of the gameplay feel more fluid, so the action feels more fluid and intuitive and stuff, and it just feels better. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. I think it's just the little bit of the disappointment of standard 60 FPS. Well, actually,
exactly.
Like, and if it's a choice on the developer's part to have like unlimited frame rate, but it's like chugging somewhere between like 30 and 60 at any point in time, and just like lock it to 30, but it's consistent and the frame times are consistent.
Yeah.
I'd rather they lock it to 30, to be honest with you. To have it like vary wildly sucks worse than having it just locked to 30.
For sure, yeah. But again, this is one of these things where I hope they give a 1080p 60 option, because
that'd be nice.
There's no reason why that wouldn't be able to run 60 at 1080p, because Odyssey,
especially if you still got a 1080p TV.
Exactly. Odyssey with a 1080 Ti basically ran at 60 FPS or a little bit higher most of the time.
1080.
Yeah, 1080 for me.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, playing through Neo 2 and with 60 FPS, it feels so good, and it looks really great. Like, even watching streams of it, it looks better.
Yeah.
Than other action games that are running at 30.
Yeah, exactly. It translates to the streams and all that. Yeah. Also, this trailer, it's obviously in 30 FPS, and it says gameplay trailer, so I guess that's one of the big clues right there. It's like,
good point. It is disappointing though.
Also, it's
like I'd like to see it come to 60.
Yeah. It's also really weird to say first look gameplay trailer, and it's all cinematics, man.
There is not a single point of that video where you are actually looking at gameplay.
Yeah,
there's not. I've watched it like 3 times. I'm like, there's zero gameplay, and I think that's what upset people, is that the whole marketing for this Xbox stream was this was going to be Valhalla exclusive next gen gameplay, and it was honestly one of the, maybe even was Scorn didn't have gameplay, but one of the few games that had 0.
Yeah, and people know this, because if you look at the YouTube video, it's got 660,000 views and 6,500 upvotes and 7,000 downvotes, because there's gameplay in the title. People are like, first look gameplay. I'm going to see gameplay. There's 0 gameplay in this.
There's 0.
It's kind of a shame as well, because like obviously following the announce, everyone was like super excited for it, right? So they like the idea and they like the theme. I mean, no, I don't think it's taken away from their excitement for the game, but it's also just like, the next trailer that had gone out, like had it been titled or like phrased correctly, would have continued with the overall overarching positivity, whereas everyone's like, this is just clickbait. It's like,
if this said reveal trailer instead of gameplay trailer.
Yeah, if they market it as we're going to be showing another exclusive trailer of Valhalla, I'd be like, sweet, it looks beautiful.
I reckon it was one of those sort of like things as well, like where it'd be interesting to know who had more of a hand in it. Whether it was like Xbox being like, oh, we need to kind of have like a big spin, because obviously they knew that a lot of the other titles they were showing were not enough to hold, because obviously their first party event is until June. So in July. In July is when they plan to show Halo Infinite, supposedly the rumored Fable and things like that. So they obviously got a lot of big things, and then they knew that in this one, the only thing that really carried the weight was Valhalla. So to hold it to the very end and then to try and clickbait people, be like, it's going to be gameplay. I wonder if that was more from like a Microsoft point of view, being like, we need to push this, because then afterwards the Ubisoft director was very much like, we know it wasn't quite gameplay. I know you guys weren't happy, but we've got some more stuff coming. Because Ubisoft announced today as well, they've got an event in July as well. So that's where we should see actual gameplay.
Actual gameplay.
This overall, this whole this whole thing felt like kind of the first stumble from Microsoft regarding the Series X.
Yeah.
Aside from the naming, but it's like they've been just knocking it out of the park every time they talk, and this one felt like the first stumble. You know, like I was really excited to see some of the games I saw. I'm really excited for the new Xbox as well, but like just it felt a little tone deaf to say gameplay. Specifically on the Assassin's Creed Valhalla trailer when there is no gameplay. It was also like this wasn't the strongest lineup of games I've ever seen. Like if this was the E3, which it's not, but if this was like an E3 like kind of press conference kind of thing, this would have been like, oh my God, this is all they got. You know, and we know that there's a Halo out there. We know that there's all these other games coming. So, you know, just and maybe they just want to ramp up through the summer to the release, and they want to show off some of the.
I reckon that I wonder if it's also like a kind of a knee-jerk reaction because again, like supposedly, you know, dates haven't been confirmed, but the rumors going around that Sony's going to have an event at the beginning of June to kind of talk about their stuff. So I wonder if it's almost like we're waiting until July to show our stuff, but rumors are going around that Sony's got to do that. Let's try and scramble together an event. I mean, I don't know feasibly whether it's even possible to kind of pull something together that quickly, but it's definitely one of those ones where this whole, like, when you think about both consoles, like the whole, and I know some of it's been impacted by the whole Corona thing, but the whole like way they've been revealed, even before the whole lockdown stuff it's quite weird because, you know, both companies have been like putting out little just like tiny blog posts like here's let's talk about the processor of all things. You know, when you think about traditionally when like a console's revealed in the past, they'll do the announce, they'll show like a silhouette of the box or something, and they kind of get you excited about the stuff you see first. But this time around they've done it so backwards. They're like, we're going to talk about the teraflops and the gigaflops and the whatever flops you don't understand about if you're not tech savvy. And it's just like it's been a very weird way to get people hyped for it.
It has,
So,
but then also talk about frame rates and stuff, and then have a game like Valhalla being 30 FPS.
Well, see, this is why I really wanted to see gameplay as well, because a big thing has been like loading times, right? People have been really excited that they're not going to have to sit in a loading screen for 5 hours for some of these games. So seeing some gameplay where there's like 0 loading times where normally there would have been really nice.
Yeah.
But we haven't seen any of that yet through gameplay. So.
Yeah, I will say, even though this is a stumble, moving forward, I think the Xbox Game Pass is still going to be the juggernaut for any other game 100%. Company to try to compete with, because I mean, it's competing console and Steam at this point, and there is no other value out there right now that's going to give you what you can get from the Game Pass. It's crazy. It's like it's going to become the Netflix of games if there is no other competing thing that happens. And I didn't even know how another company could actually come up with that, because like,
well, Sony
could they Sony do that?
Well, yeah, absolutely they could.
Yeah,
sure.
They're technically a lot smaller company when you look at the per capita what they got.
Yeah, but of all the games we saw in this press conference, how many of them are first party exclusives, or how many of them are exclusive with the Xbox?
I don't think any of them, right?
So if Sony puts out like a competing service that has all their exclusives, plus they have all these third-party games.
Well, what I'm saying is I don't know if Sony has the publishing cash to be able to negotiate a deal like Game Pass. Microsoft clearly has like tons of money where they can be like, we can guarantee this type of result even if you don't hit this many plays with the Game Pass. You know, like they can negotiate those type of things. I don't think Sony.
I've never gotten a clear understanding on how that works. Like I haven't heard like a really good report on like what actually happens when a game goes to Game Pass, or even what happens when something goes to like Xbox Live like free, or PS5 or PlayStation Network free. You know how like they have like a free week for a game. Like how does that all work?
Right. Well, clearly they have to make money, right?
Yeah.
So something has to happen, and it's a relatively new service. So there's going to be a jump start to there. I don't see Sony being in a position to jump start a service that could cost them a lot of money to gamble, whereas Microsoft definitely can gamble on things.
True.
And Game Pass is amazing so far. And if xCloud becomes a thing, right? Like if you have xCloud Game Pass, and then if you do happen to have the Xbox in your living room, and then you can play on your PC, like it's really good options.
Yeah, it's the Game Pass is definitely a huge thing. I think ultimately, I don't know if I'll get like personally for my office an Xbox, because I'm probably just going to play everything on PC.
Same.
But for PlayStation 5, 100%, it's going to be in the office, ready to go. And I'm so excited for a PlayStation, something like this. I want to see that big epic thing that we get at E3 when someone just does gameplay, trailer, gameplay.
Yeah.
No talking, just one after the other, and you're like, oh my god, what is happening?
Yeah.
Where you don't even have enough time to process your hype before the next hype begins.
Yeah.
Hopefully.
Well, with that Jeff Keighley thing happening over the summer, it sounds like everybody's going to kind of be drip feeding this stuff out. I don't know if we're ever going to have like an E3 type experience this year.
I even if Sony just did like a kind of press thing and something like this, but they just had boom, 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 would be awesome. Because we've got Godfall that I want to know more about. Godfall, I'm super interested in. Elden Ring, they could show more of that. Just those alone are 2 huge games where I'm like, yes, please. Yes, please.
PlayStation has the exclusives. Like that's
they always
their
have.
strength. It's been their strength for a long time. Yeah. And when they start showing those off, like that's going to be a big deal.
That's also why I'm planning on buying a PS5 first, and then consider an Xbox Series X down the road. Because I already got a PC. I'd rather play those PC games. Like, why would I play Valhalla at 4K 30 when I could have a PC at higher frames? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, what's disappointing to me is that I was hoping that the Xbox Series X was going to be my living room PC in quotes. It was going to be like I was going to get that PC experience, in my living room. And if the games are just going to come out at 4K 30, that's going to be disappointing to me, because that's not unlike what I have with the Xbox now. So I have a 4K 30 experience.
True.
What are you going to do? You're going to add like some graphical fidelity? Like, okay, that's going to look nice. But man, it's really hard to play a game at 30 FPS when you have it available to you at a higher FPS on a computer.
Yeah.
Yep, definitely. Did you see some news about Diablo?
No,
I didn't.
So Diablo 2 is looking to get a remaster.
I heard about
and
this,
it's being done by our good friends Vicarious Visions.
That's good news.
So this is all
I haven't heard
confirmed?
much out of them.
Is this rumor confirmed?
I believe it's confirmed. I don't think it's a rumor. Yeah.
Is this coming to consoles and PC, or is it going to be PC exclusive?
I don't know.
Don't know yet.
But they said that they plan to reveal Diablo 2 Resurrected sometime in 2020.
Cool.
But then also Jeff Keighley mentioned that Activision and Blizzard are collaborating on a potential release from now until August. Regardless, all these things should still be taken with a grain of salt until the official announcement. So it's been discussions under the table. Someone at a bar was like, I'm working on Diablo 2. And they was like, I'm going to put that in my article.
Did they say remastered or reimagined? What was it?
It says remastered in the title of this.
So like higher res graphics, that kind of thing?
I mean, I'll still play it even if it's remastered. But if they do a reimagined Diablo 2, like convert it to 3D models.
Not just Diablo 3?
No, definitely not. Briar, how
Diablo
dare
2
you?
reimagined. Diablo 3.
How dare you, Brian? No way. I would definitely play that.
Yeah. I would like to see it. Actually, I could play that on Switch at 1080p, or I could play it on a 4K console. Like, those games scale really well to high resolutions. They just get more beautiful.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
In a crisp 30 FPS.
No, if it's on PC, come on, uncapped, right?
Yeah, I've been wanting to buy a 4K monitor for my PC, because as we bring in these like kind of more capable 4K consoles, like I'm gonna want to have like a kind of streaming and recording setup that is built around 4K. But what I don't have is a gaming monitor in my office that's 4K. So I've been kind of like but man, like this news of like, are these games just gonna be 4K 30? Because I'm not gonna care about that, you know. So I'm like starting to pull back on like the 4K stuff.
Yeah. Well, so what's your rating? What's everyone's rating on this presentation from Xbox?
The office tour portion of the show was an A+.
Yes, I don't mind these kind of reveals. You know, show me some new games, introduce me to some new titles, get me looking forward for more information about it. But nothing that really, I didn't come away from it being like, oh yeah, can't wait.
Yeah, so they didn't like sell any Series X's here.
No, definitely not. Right?
No, I felt kind of like you know how like sometimes when Nintendo do the Nintendo Directs, like there might be like one or two standout games, and the rest of them you're just like, I can't even remember half those games. That's kind of what it was for me. It was like, you know, if it wasn't for anime game and Valhalla, even if it wasn't actually gameplay, I think for me, like, it's one of those sort of things where I wasn't as bothered, because I think I enjoy those kind of shows sometimes more so just for the excitement of the fact that it's just lots of game announcements in one. Like, obviously I like seeing gameplay, but for me, like, I don't mind if I see a cinematic trailer or that. I just like the excitement of seeing it, because I already know myself, like, I don't need to see anything from Valhalla. I'm buying Valhalla anyway. Like, so obviously I want to see some stuff, but like, for me, the fact that they didn't actually show tangible gameplay, I personally am like, whatever. Like, I'm still excited. So I still enjoyed the event. I still sat down, streamed it. Kind of, it was sort of like a mini slice of the E3 cake, and I got my little kind of hour of like, this is fun. But as shows go, it wasn't their greatest.
Yeah, that's how I felt too. It was like an appetizer to getting ready to new things come in that they're going to announce. And I also don't mind them going down this route. I think they definitely need to manage expectations, because the expectations were, we're going to see some like heavy hitting, you know, just legit gameplay. Somebody's going to fumble in the menu of Valhalla, and it's like, we're going to have that soundbite for a while. Remember when this happened? And none of that happened on there. So the expectations blew it out. So yeah, I feel like it fell flat personally, but I also am excited they're moving the needle forward for new games.
Definitely.
Yeah.
So that's where I think it stumbled the hardest, is like, did it move the needle forward for new games? Like, did this at all show off the power of the Xbox One Series or the Xbox Series X? That's where I feel like the stumbling block was. People are still thinking, they don't know the price of this thing. The rumors are $500. People want to see, like, okay, justify why this is going to cost $500 and why I'm going to replace my current Xbox or PlayStation. And this did not do that.
Okay. I mean, those games looked really good.
They look $500 new console good?
If you're on an Xbox One right now, yeah.
Really?
Yeah, like an OG Xbox One, like the original.
Odyssey. Okay, maybe if you're on an OG Xbox, like a launch edition, and
not an Xbox One X that's currently out.
But I mean, so Odyssey looks stupendous on a PlayStation Pro or an Xbox One X, and people just bought those, right? Like 3 years ago or less. And both PlayStation, both Sony and Microsoft have to now justify another significantly large purchase. Where, like, the rumor is $500 per console. Maybe one of them will be $400. Maybe both of them will be $400. I think, like, that'd be great if they were $400. But if you're showing off games at 4K 30, like, what are you showing that the Pro and the One X can't do? And I don't feel like any of these games showed that.
Yeah, that's fair.
I don't know, bro.
I mean, I'm in a position where I'm buying both of those consoles when they come out. That's just how it is, right?
Okay.
But if I'm being a more rational consumer about this, and I'm looking at this reveal, and I'm looking at each one of these trailers, I didn't see anything here that convinced me to buy an Xbox Series X. Sure. Not at launch.
Again, I don't think. I feel like if you already own an Xbox One X, it's going to be a tough sell anyways, and I feel like Microsoft kind of knows that. I think, anyways. But if you're still rocking that original Xbox One or bought an Xbox One in the first year or two when those came out, like it seems like that's going to be a good upgrade if you've waited that long and going to get some decent hardware. But I feel like their messaging is a lot broader now as opposed to the one console that's going to fix all your gaming problems, the Xbox Series X. You know, it's not that. It's the option if you don't want to have a PC. You could still play on your Xbox One X. If you do have a PC or if you want to do xCloud, you know, like you'll be able to play anywhere on whatever device. Like that seems like their goal is to move that direction.
What is the branding on being able to buy like an Xbox One game and play it on your Series X? What's the branding around that?
Play anywhere, whatever.
Is it play anywhere?
Smart delivery, isn't it?
Smart delivery.
Yeah.
So that is a brilliant program, and I think that a lot of people are going to benefit from it. But the one thing that I anticipate the PlayStation having an easier time of it is that they're going to have games that can only play on PlayStation 5, and they're going to be able to take advantage of the PlayStation 5 hardware right off the get-go, and this is all theoretical, but they may be able to show off like right off the bat, like, here's why the PlayStation 5 looks so much better than the PlayStation 4, because we didn't have to develop this game also for the PlayStation 4.
Yeah.
I don't know. That's all theoretically. Maybe it works out like that. Maybe it doesn't.
That is definitely the one thing that is kind of interesting, like with... And I mean, I know it's not the first time I see it, because I know this has happened in multiple console generations before, but it is often quite weird when it's like that first year of the new generation of a console is like, hey, you can buy this game on the next gen console or the previous gen. And obviously, like, you know, in previous years, it's been like, well, okay, fine, the PS4 version looks better than the PS3 version. Yeah, fair enough. But because they're still being kind of developed for both, it's still holding it back. It's like, if I'm going to buy a new generation console, like realistically, if it wasn't for the fact that I'm you know, even it's not even to do with being like a content creator, I just like my tech, so I would buy it day one anyway. But if it wasn't for that, I would, if I was just like, you know, like a kind of a consumer who just like buys just to play games, you know, that's literally it. I don't care about tech. I would literally wait a year or two, and I'd be like, well, I genuinely don't need it right now anyway.
That's usually a smart move anyway, because you're probably getting better hardware, like, because launch hardware is often shitty. Like it often has problems.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The other thing that as well that I find, I mean, I know it's like part of Microsoft strategy. It's obviously working for them with like Game Pass and stuff, but for me, as a you know, someone that, again, you know, as I was saying before, like anytime a new console comes out, I want it regardless, and I will still buy the Xbox Series X. But it's interesting that because obviously they're changing stances. Like a lot of the games you can buy, you can play them on Xbox Series X, and if you have a PC, and this is obviously, you know, it's not every single person. Not everyone has like a beast gaming PC, and that like the Series Xbox more for that. But like in our situation, like I will always get excited about consoles regardless. With the Series X, I'm very much like, well, as we've sort of been saying this thing, it's like, well, if the option comes to play it on PC or my Xbox Series X, I'm playing it on PC. Whereas like with PlayStation, it's like, well, I have to play it on PlayStation. Switch, I have to play it on Switch. I find that, you know, with that diversified thing, I'm sure it's, you know, it's great for them from a business point of view, but it's just, it always, for me, it takes the magic away a little bit from the Xbox. I'm just like, well, I could boot it up and plug it in and find the HDMI cable to reach on the back of my TV, or just play it on my PC. You know?
Yeah, that's the point exactly, right? It's like Xbox will say that this is an Xbox exclusive, but it doesn't mean that you can't play it on your PC, because Game Pass is a thing, which Microsoft will still be getting my money because we're going to have Game Pass. So I would just play it on PC. So in terms of me needing a console, I would get the PS5, because there's going to be something that comes out on there that either never comes to PC, or you've got to wait like a year to play it on PC. So I'm going to get the PS5, because they have, like Switch does, they have true exclusives where it's like you can only play it on this specific device that I'm talking about, not
that's compelling. That is compelling.
Yep. Also, like, I know we keep talking about like what's going to be next gen, or something that's going to show next gen and make you go, damn, this is the future of gaming, or something like that. But I don't think it's going to happen this generation. I feel like everything that we're going to see that might actually blow you away on the Xbox Series X or PS5 is basically stuff that we've kind of already seen on PC. So it's like we're desensitized to true visual innovation, unless it's some sort of like new field in VR or something like that. Because like that wasn't the case when this generation came out last time. There was still some parity going on between PC and and the consoles, and the PC was starting to get some legs, but it wasn't quite what it is today. Now it's like, man, the parity is huge, and these consoles that are going to be coming out are definitely good PC consoles. But by the time the 3080 Ti comes out, they're already old news. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah. True. Yeah, sure. True.
Yeah. So I think it's tougher to see something that's going to be like, damn, this is a console seller. You know, the consumers today are desensitized to all the PC graphics that we see in advertising.
Yeah. No, it's very true.
Yeah.
True.
Well, it's an interesting time. Like, I'm really excited about this year. Yeah. Like, it's gonna be definitely fun. Yeah. Like I said, like I'm definitely buying both new consoles when they come out. The PlayStation, just like I did with the PlayStation 4, is I'll probably be buying two, one for the office and one for the living room. Just because, like, I like to play games in the living room, and like with the Xbox, like having a PC in the office and a Xbox in the living room is kind of the perfect situation. But you can't, you know, that option's not available on the PlayStation.
Yeah,
I'm really excited.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it is exciting.
There's a lot of games that I'm really excited to hear more about this year. So can't wait. Can't wait.
Yeah.
I think so. That's SideQuest, right? We should be wrapping up pretty soon.
That is it.
Yeah.
I think so.
Watts and I started Neo a few days ago. You just started it too, right?
I started it yesterday. I will say, Tefty, you missed so much character customization.
I wanted to cut people in half with my sword.
You missed. I was astonished by the amount that you missed.
Adjusting hair length does not equate to decapitating somebody.
I gave my character a full sleeve tattoos.
That's great.
Yeah, it was great.
I can always go back and edit. I can always go back and edit.
You know, so speaking of, so I was in character creation, so actually messing around with how she looks for a little over an hour. And then it was an hour 20 total for me to like pick my weapon, the Guardian Spirit, and play the game.
Can I ask you a question? I haven't played Neo 2. You can, once you've created your character and started playing the game, you can go back and edit your character.
Yeah.
That's awesome, because I have no patience for it when I get a new game. I just want to start playing the game. Like, whatever the defaults are usually fine for me. And then later I'm like, I wish I see other people's cool characters. So like, I wish I could go back and like do some of that stuff. That's awesome that you can go back.
Yeah, it's really cool, because sometimes you'll see them in cutscenes or even in the game, and you're like, oh, this doesn't really look the way I expected it to look. So you can go in there and change it. And already I'm like, oh, well, I could change some of this around. I could add this. I could do that.
Listen,
every time I go to the main map, I'm probably changing.
Do an adjustment. Listen, chat shut me down on giving Peaches a full beard. So she was gonna rock a full beard, and then chat said no.
What's wrong with that? Why is chat hating?
Exactly. So that ended all my motivation. I was like, you know what? It is what it is.
You could have even made her chin down to like here with a beard. Yeah.
Oh damn.
That would have been ultimate Peaches. Have her chin be absolutely massive with a giant beard.
You should sneak back in and do it before the next stream, and then you'll be like,
we have to.
You should. Definitely.
Well,
and then
how is that game going? Like, are you guys both enjoying it?
I think we should talk about next week, because then both Watts and I will have been pretty far into it. Like, I'm about 12 hours so far, but the game's big. It's like a 40 to 60 hour game.
It's a big game.
Yeah. So we should.
I wanted to very quickly talk about Final Fantasy VII. I'm playing the original Final Fantasy VII on the Switch with like all the cheat mode engaged. I finally made it up to the golden what's it called? The golden saucer?
Mm-hmm.
And I gotta say, like, I am really starting to get into the story and the characters of that game. I still am very much fast forwarding the gameplay and using cheats to get through the combat as fast as I can, because I don't really enjoy the combat. But I am really starting to get into the story, the characters, like the interactions. I'm having a lot of fun with that portion of the game, and I'm glad I ended up getting on the Switch.
Awesome.
Nice. I'm actually
there's some new theory videos about the Final Fantasy remake ending, so I will
really?
send them to you.
Okay. Also, if you do want to play, I just found out there's a PC version that's a lot like the Switch, but it also has mods that up-res the backgrounds to like kind of modern day standards. Which I thought was very interesting. I wish I knew about it before I started on the Switch, because I'm not going to go back.
No.
That's cool.
But like, that's a pretty cool way to play it, with like up-res backgrounds and all the cheats enabled.
Nice. I'll have to check that out. I think I own it. Pretty sure I own the Final Fantasy 7 on Steam. So I bought it like when it showed up. I was like, yeah, I'll take it. Haven't played it.
Steam sale. I can't afford not to buy this.
How can I possibly not spend money on this? Jesus.
I'd love to see a stat of all the games that everybody has bought on Steam and never once played.
It's got to be massive.
It's gotta be.
Yep.
Right?
Like way higher than any other place to play games.
Oh, man. All right. Well, I think that's the episode. We should definitely talk Neo 2 next week. Hopefully we don't get sidetracked.
For sure.
Yeah.
Honestly, even just playing the first part of the game, I'm just like, this is the best thing ever.
Yeah, it's
Are you guys
fantastic.
playing on console or PC?
I'm using hatchets.
PS4.
You can only play it on PS4 at the moment.
Oh, it's only available on PS4?
Yeah.
And it runs at 60 FPS on PS4?
There's an option for it, yeah. Yeah,
Mhm.
it feels
nice.
good too. Feels really good.
It feels great.
Yep. Awesome. Well, that is SideQuest. SideQuest complete.
I can't do the bell
You
anymore.
got that sound thing, yep. If you want to find more of me, you can talk to me at Teft on Twitter and catch my streams, twitch.tv/TeftyTeft. I will be playing a lot of Neo 2, maybe even Animal Crossing. We'll see. Although there's Halo 2 Anniversary coming out on PC, that's also sparking my interest. Do another playthrough of that. There's things on the menu. So
There's lots.
Yep.
I am Miss 5000 Watts. You can find me on Twitter, Twitch, and YouTube. Just look for Miss 5000 Watts. I am indeed playing Neo 2 as well. And I've also started putting up a new YouTube channel called Watts Plays, where I just upload straight VODs. So you're not going to get edited stuff or commentary, but just a place to archive streams because the watch experience is much, much better on YouTube than Twitch.
That's awesome.
Smart. I will subscribe immediately.
Yeah.
Oh, why? Thank you.
I'm subscribed too. I wish I had done that back in the day when I started doing variety, because there's a lot of stuff that I wish I had archived that never got archived.
Yeah, that you if you don't highlight it, it's just gone forever.
Yep.
True. I'm going to use my end segment to tell you instead that Blasphemous is currently on sale. It's a very good game, and you should play it.
Yes.
I just got a copy of it, a physical copy from Best Buy.
Oh, nice.
I was so excited. I thought that it was a digital only game. I knew Limited Run released it for a little bit, but I thought it would be like, one of those games that you can only find for exorbitant prices on eBay. But Best Buy had it, and I got it for $30.
Nice.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Buy it, play it, and the DLC's coming later this year.
Speaking of Best Buy, they're delivering my Xbox Elite Series 2 controller today.
Oh,
Ooh,
are you sure? Are you sure you deserve that controller after what you did to the first one?
Yes, absolutely.
That's not very elite.
Never mind. It's delivering on Thursday. What the hell? They said it would come out on Monday.
They might be rethinking this. They're like, I don't know if after the way he treated his first Elite controller, I don't know if we should give him another one.
This time I bought the freaking plan, the plan to replace it. So I'd be like, this is broken. You give me a new one right now.
I did not break it. It broke by itself.
I do that with all the mice I buy and with all the controllers I buy from Best Buy.
Yeah.
Because I assume they're going to break.
Do it with the Xbox controllers? Hell yeah.
I'm Briar Rabbit. You can find me perusing eBay looking for a Sega Saturn console, preferably with the Japanese style controller. And if it's got an RGB mod, all the better.
Wow.
So email. What's your email prior for to construct a transaction? Awesome. All right, that's the show. Thank you very much for watching, guys. Shout out to all of our Twitch subs and Patreon members that support the show, make it happen. And thanks for watching, whether you're live on YouTube or Spotify or Podbean or places where you download podcasts. We'll see you next week for another show.
Yeah.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye.
Bye-bye.